welcome or welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Patti and I'm a crafter. And if you came over from my other channel that is still hacked, I still cannot get in. I just want to thank y'all for all the support that y'all have shown me. So today we're going to make some Dollar Tree vases into some beautiful home decor. It doesn't have to be a Dollar Tree vase. You can use just about any vase you want. So if you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right, Maxwell?
And be sure and give me a like because it really does help my channel. Thank you so much.
Okay, for this first one, I'm taking one of the Dollar Tree cylinder vases and I'm going to come up 2.5 inches from the bottom. And then I'm just going to put tape all the way around it and try to get your tape straight because we're going to paint this and you will see if it's not straight. So really spend some time on trying to get this straight. Okay, next I'm just going to cover the top part with just a piece of paper to keep the paint from going through. And I'm just putting some piece of tape down the back to hold it together. And then I did decide to put a little bit of tape around the bottom of it just to make sure it stayed in place. And it didn't go lower or it didn't rise up. And then I'm going to paint the bottom with a matte River Rock paint. Okay, then I got this little pedestal at Dollar Tree and I'm going to paint it with a satin white paint. Okay, then to attach the pedestal to the vase, I'm just going to use some E6000 glue as well as hot glue, and I'm just going to go right around the rim. And don't worry too much if you get glue oozing out because we are going to cover this. Just kind of make sure you get it lined up. To cover up the bottom, I've got this little seagrass trim that I got. I'm not sure exactly where I got it. I'm just putting it along the bottom. Just put some kind of a decorative trim on there, and then just go all the way around to the back. Okay, next to mix up the textures a little bit, I'm coming along the top edge of the top part with some jute. And I am going to glue the end so it does stay together, and I'm going to go around my vase about 4 times with this. Just try to get your first line pretty straight, and then the other 4 lines will be pretty straight once you get there, and then just glue it off in the back. To dress it up a little bit, I'm just going to take a little sand dollar, put a little hot glue on there and E6000 glue together and attach this right onto my jute. Okay, then I'm just going to fill it up with some white sand and I'm going to add a tall candle. This was pretty simple and it turned out so pretty. Let me know what you think. Next one, I'm using one of the fishbowl shaped vases and some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to wipe it down really good. I'm going to paint it, and it just really does kind of help get it started to adhere the paint a little bit better if you do wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol. Okay, next I'm going to take some white chalk paint and I'm going to paint the entire thing. And just try to get it as smooth as you can. It's going to get a little bit thick because you're going to have to do probably 2 coats on that, and then we're going to sand it after we get done drying this. And while that's drying, I'm just going to take a metal lid that I cut off of my last week's project, and I'm just going to paint it completely white too. And I'm going to paint the sides, the back, and the front both. I'm taking some 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm lightly going over the entire thing to get it a little bit more smooth. Next, I got these little napkins at Home Goods, and I'm going to take the backing off. Now, these were 3-ply, so I'm taking 2 layers off the back. And sometimes if you dip your finger into the Mod Podge and then put it onto the white backing, you can kind of get it lift up pretty good if you're having trouble getting it to lift. You just kind of really just stick your finger to it, and then it'll pull off pretty easily with this. And you're just leaving the top layer only. And then save your other 2 because you can run them through a printer to create another project. Okay, next I'm going to start tearing my napkin. I'm not going to cut it. I'm just going to tear it into small pieces that I can work with. And I'm going to use almost this entire napkin on this project. I'm just going to use some matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to put a generous amount on here, and I'm just going to start adding my strips. And I'm going to go over the top part too, kind of tucking it in. And then just kind of use your paintbrush a little bit to kind of smooth it out a little bit. And then once you get it to a place where you can start smoothing it out really good, you can put some cellophane on it. But I'm just going to continue to overlap these, put them in different positions, kind of turn them different ways. I'm going to kind of go fast on this so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just trying to get it as smooth as I can. But you definitely want to use a napkin that has a continuous pattern like this. That way you can blend in real well. If it has a bunch of different patterns on it, it'll be harder to overlap these. And then just continue to add until you have it completely covered. And then when you get to a point where you want to smooth it all out, just grab you some cellophane or some plastic wrap right there, and then that will help you smooth it out without you tearing any of it. And your paintbrush too, it's a good way to get it to smooth out too, because I notice that it's not sticking to my paintbrush while I'm painting it on here. And I am going to do the bottom of my vase as well. While that's drying, I'm going to take another napkin and I'm just going to glue this right to the face of this. I'm not going to tear it into pieces like I did for my vase. I'm just going to do it in one solid sheet. And then I am going to go into the grooves on all those little circles that are in there on the lid, and I'm just using the little plastic wrap to push this down. The plastic wrap just keeps it from sticking to your fingers and pulling up, so it really works good on this. And then once I get it smooth, I'm just going to trim around it and I'm going to glue it to the back. And I'm just going to put it right around the edges and I'm just going to fold it over. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see this side of it anyway. Just kind of make sure that your edges are smooth and that when you finish putting it all the way around there, you still have a round disc. You don't have any buckling on the corners. And you could cover the back of it too if you want to. I didn't end up covering the back of mine, or you could even put a cork on the bottom of it. What we're making is a cup and a saucer. After that dried, I'm going to take another napkin and I'm going to cover the top of this. I just wanted it to be a little bit deeper to kind of blend in with my vase. So I'm just taking another piece, going over the top of it, doing exactly the same thing, gluing that down, and then I'm going to cut it off and glue it to the back. And then I'm just cutting about an inch around it to glue to the back. Now you could finish the opposite side as well. You could actually decoupage it just like you did the front. Next, to finish out the inside, I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the inside as I did on the outside. I just tore up some little pieces of that napkin and I'm going to cover the entire inside of this as well. And doing the inside of it too really does finish it out and make it look nice. And since I am going to use this as a centerpiece on my table, I just wanted it completely finished. And you're doing it exactly the same way, just overlapping your pieces until you have it completely solid inside. Now that that's completely dry on the inside and the outside, I'm just going to add a nice coat of the matte Mod Podge to both the inside and the outside just to finish this out. And you're just using a thin coat. You don't have to put it on too thick. I'm doing the same thing with my saucer also. Just really get a nice even coat on here. For my handle, I'm just going to take a piece of pool noodle and I'm just going to cut up probably about a 3/4 of an inch wide piece out of this. And this worked real good for the handle because you can curve it easily. And then I'm just kind of holding it up against my vase to see how big I need it. I am going to have to trim this off a little bit because it was a little bit too long. So about something like that's going to be about perfect. It does set flush with my mug. I am going to cut it at a 90-degree angle right there. So just shave off part of it so you can make sure it does set flush and then do the same thing with the other end. Okay, so that it matches my mug, I am going to take another piece of that napkin. I'm going to pull the backing off of this so I just have the one single ply on it. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge. I'm just going to put it right down at the bottom of this napkin and I'm just going to start rolling this up in here. And I'm kind of going to glue as I'm going along so it does stay in place. And just roll it up enough until you don't see the pool noodle through it anymore. I rolled mine up pretty good. I had quite a bit on it. And then I'm just going to glue that flap shut so it's one solid piece. And then at the ends, I'm going to take those and trim those off and glue those up as well. I am going to glue my ends together with some hot glue. The Mod Podge wasn't going to hold, so definitely you want to use some hot glue on this. And to attach it, just put some hot glue at the top part. And then make sure that you do have your handle straight when you go down to the bottom. Just kind of look at it right from the front. That way you can make sure that you do get it glued straight. And then just set that aside and let that dry. Okay, next I'm just going to glue my saucer right to my cup. Just kind of make sure you do get it in the center.
And then I am going to put a layer of Mod Podge onto the handle to finish it out as well. To finish out my teacup, I got these little tulips from Amazon. I'll give you the link for these. They offer these in so many different colors, but I'm going to put quite a few in here. And you do get quite a few in the package that you get. And I'm not putting anything in here to hold them in place because if I want to use these later for something else, I can. But do get it pretty full because it does look pretty. And then a few of them I'm going to bend outward so that they're kind of hanging over the edge. All right, and this was a pretty quick and easy project. I think it turned out super cute. Okay, for this next one, I'm using 2 of the Dollar Tree palm tree drink cups. I'm going to take the straw out and I'm going to use the base and the top. And I'm going to cut this off on the 6th from the bottom rung, right in the center of it. And I'm just using a little saw. It's like a little X-Acto knife saw to cut this in half. Okay, for the lid, I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut around this circle. We're going to just cut out this circle and use the rest of it, but just try to get as close to that circle as you can because you want as much of these palm leaves as you can get. And just go around a few times. It'll cut through pretty easily. Just take your time on that. And then once you get a cut into it, then you can just start kind of sawing it through. We're just going to stick our mug down inside of here and you're going to come up to the first little rung area and then that'll lock in place. You want to take some rubbing alcohol to kind of wipe them down real good to get all those little plastic pieces off. To tie all this together, I'm using some large jute rope to go around it and then that way I can glue the palm tree to the mug at the same time. And then I'm just using a lighter to get all the little frayed edges off of this. Be sure and do this part because you don't want any of those on your project. You want to go ahead and glue one end of these so it doesn't unravel, and then we're going to glue it to the mug and to the green part at the same time. So you're going to have glue on both sides connecting the two together. And just kind of start in one place. You pick your favorite part of the front and then start in the back and go all the way around. And then once you get to the end, then just trim that off. And you want to make sure that you glue that flush and you do glue the end of that rope as well. Okay, next I got these 2-inch round wooden rings and I'm just going to glue these right to the top. Just kind of make sure that you get enough glue in there to put those together where you don't have any gaps. Just kind of push it on there and just kind of make sure it is straight. Taking these outside and I'm going to spray paint them with an oil rubbed bronze paint and I'm going to spray the entire thing including the rope that goes around the center. It's dried. I'm just going to take some gold metallic paint and a chip brush and I'm going to just start brushing this. Now I'm going to kind of go fast on this so you can see what I'm doing, but I did put a generous amount of the gold on here. It really did kind of dress it up a lot. And now I'm going around the center as well. And then I'm going to take my chip brush and kind of brush upward so that I can get the little edges of the ledge. I'm going to take a pool noodle and I'm going to cut it to the length of the inside of the cup, push it all the way down until it's just right at the very top. And then I'm going to add one of the little solar lights I got from Dollar Tree right down into the center. Next one, I got this little vase at Dollar Tree and I'm going to spray paint it with a aqua sea glass Krylon paint. Okay, and this is just a frosted paint, so you'll be able to kind of see through the glass, but just kind of get it evenly coated. Don't concentrate in one area so much or you will have runs. But this did go on pretty nicely. And I'm just going to start going crossways and then I'm going to go up and down. So kind of change it up a little bit. And I have my vase sitting on top of just a regular plastic cup so that I can make sure that I get it evenly on the bottom without getting it oozed up on the top. Okay, after that's dried, you want to go ahead and flip it over and you want to go ahead and paint the top part. And this is where I'm going to go sideways on it. Okay, look how pretty that is. Now that it's completely done, I'm just going to take some of the rope I got at Dollar Tree and I'm going to wrap it around the bottom and I'm going to wrap it around the neck. This is just a simple little project. I'm not doing anything major to this one. This is just a super simple one that you could use pretty much year round. And you don't have to be a coastal person to enjoy the blue vase. It's just so pretty. And then go ahead and glue your ends together so they don't come apart. And then just wrap it around and then cut that off to where they join. And then just go ahead and glue that together too, because it does unravel if you don't. And then just center it in the center and then go ahead and put a little bead of glue right at the center. And you're going to stand it up to make sure it is level with the ground or level with your table. And then just glue that in. That was pretty simple on that one. Okay, then I'm going to put another one exactly like that one at the neck. And go ahead and glue your ends because this will unravel. And then I'm just going to glue this right around the top part. This was a really pretty easy one, but I tell you what, that frosted glass color is really pretty. And they also make that in like a seafoam green too that is very pretty as well. And you could use this for any kind of decor. It doesn't have to be a coastal decor. I mean, I'm just going to add a pool noodle to the center of it, and I'm just going to add some flowers. All right, look how pretty that is. Just something simple, but it is pretty. Next was super simple. I just got one of these little plastic vases from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just removing my tags, and then I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to spray paint it with some white primer. And next I got this package of bracelets from the Dollar Tree, and this is how many you get in one kit. You get quite a few, and I'm just going to alternate my colors all the way until I have them all on my hand. These really are very pretty, and you could use these for a lot of different projects. And then I'm going to slide the whole bunch over the top part of my vase. And that's going to be the bottom. Just kind of straighten them out until you don't see any wires. Okay, next I got this little metal tray from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to use some E6000 glue and some hot glue to attach it to the top. And if you're not going to put this outside, you probably really don't have to use the E6000, but I'd highly recommend it. And then I'm just going to center this on my pan. So I'm going to turn it upside down onto there, and then just kind of line it up so that it is in the center. Okay, next I'm going to fill my little tray up with some just white sand. And then I'm going to put 3 candles in this. And this is pretty much it. That was a pretty simple one. These are really cute for if you're doing an outdoor party or something like that. You can make several of these to put on your table. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope it gave you some inspiration. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome. See you next time. Thanks for watching.